On this episode of One Man, One Hand, and No Real Plan, we're going to turn this pile of parts into a planishing hammer. So what's in the box? I feel like Brad Pitt. What's in the box? What's in the box?
Box, who's in the box?
We have an air hammer. It's just a cheap one off Amazon. I know there are better ones for doing this, but we're testing this out, and I think it's going to work fine. I got a pedal that is for pneumatic applications to be able to control if it's running or not with our foot. A short line to go from the pedal to the hammer. We've got a basic set of planishing hammer dies. Then of course you got the striking side that goes into the hammer. I'm hoping that I'll be able to control it with how hard I push the pedal. I don't know if that's true with this particular model. So I may also put a regulator in so we can control how much air is going in. And I have an old one from an old paint gun. My goal is to build a 24-inch. I want it to be 24 inches deep. And I'm not sure how tall I'll end up making it. I don't think I want it massively tall because then I don't have a huge wingspan. So I was picturing something about like this, which is 18, 20 inches, give or take. I have some square scrap metal I'm gonna use. It'll make it to where we can put it in the vise real easy, and I can hold it and use it on a car, on a vehicle, truck, whatever, any panel. It's just something I've really wanted, but they're very expensive. I just can't justify the cash, and I don't have the cash. So without the money, you build stuff. Yeah. Look, Mom, no hands. So with this thing sitting up here, and obviously this is way bigger than we need, I think what we're going to do is use this existing build right here, this piece here, and here. And that gives us the bulk of what we will need. Remember, pretty people need a full face shield. Hopefully this is going to make sense. The idea is with this together and an upright down here, you have your die that you're working on and the hammer strikes. And then these can open so you can go around. So like you have to go around a hood or, you know, like Pac-Man. And you clamp over that. And I'm just going to have an adjustment back here, either a bolt or something like that. You know, if it pulls it together, it'll open them. And if you push them apart, obviously they get tighter. The rough shape is starting to come out. What I do need to look at real quick, my dies have a diameter. I wonder what I got in pipe. I dug through my supply pile and I found some. This is mild steel, DOM, 125 by 0.188 by 0.87. And it is perfect for my dies. So we're going to use that to hold my die on the bottom. That answers that question. How deep is it? Oh, right there. That's more than deep enough. Well, let's cut a piece of that. That solves that problem. To the bat saw. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Da-na-na. We can go back to trying to figure out what we need. Looks like 38.8 millimeters. And let's call it 39 millimeters is what we're looking for. Now that's pretty damn big, honestly. I wonder what I've got.
One eternity later.
Where are you? Oh. Maybe we found something we can work with. That's 53. Exhaust tubing. Wonder if that'd be strong enough. I bet it would be. We're gonna think about that. Let's start constructing the rest of it and go from there. That might be worth spending some money to go get something that might work better. Whew. See, look, I did not burn myself because I waited to see. I'm learning. I'm learning. But that's our bottom die. So I'm going to radius each one of these. And I've just got a piece of tubing I'm setting right here. And I want to radius one side, and on the other, I'm going to have a tab over it. Those may not be big enough, but they're something just to look at. Put a plate, and maybe that's probably a better idea. So you have a plate, drill a hole. I've got a circle here, and then they can pivot much easier. Of course, I want it as light as possible, but I also need to have some strength there. So I'm going to have a balancing act between durability and as light as possible. So I'm just going to start working, see what we can come up with. This is an old platform off of a DeWalt chop saw, and the saw is junk, but it gives me a nice clamp to be able to hold stuff. Wish it was just a little bit smaller. I wish I had a girl who looked good, I would call. Rabbit in a hat and a 6'4" Impala. Face shield time. Full face shield time. Oh, those are still hot. Don't touch them. Hopefully, that'll give you some idea of where we're going with this. I do want to figure out what size will fit through here and cut this, and we'll put that as a support for our hole we're going to drill here in a minute. Taking a break, get some water, cool down. It's the next day. I've washed my clothes. I've got everything set up, opened up the garage and stuff. It's super, super hot still. I'm gonna go ahead and weld these caps in to help that, and then we'll start putting everything together. One thing I'd encourage everyone to be when they're working on a project like this is to stay grounded. Nah, it's terrible. Yeah, get over it. So we've got these angle cuts capped. Ooh, hot. Hot, hot, hot.
Is because you're a dumbass.
Oh, man. Hold on. Super tight. Just the way we like it. Bracing? I don't know.
Question.
What?
Are we not saying phrasing anymore? Which, that's fine, whatever, but if we're doing a new thing and nobody told me, that I'd have a problem with.
There's it is. There's one. I think we broke that one. Whoopsies! Yes! Made it. Full face shield protection. If I had a left hand, it would be protected. If I had a right hand, oh wait, I have a right hand. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. I can feel it in my gloves. Gloves, gloves. Woo! Stick it in there. Wow. Hot, 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 hot.
Is because you're a dumbass.
Perfect. Uh-oh. We may not have the depth.
Hey, phrasing!
I think I'm gonna need more material than that. The more I got to looking, the less I liked my strap. I wasn't getting it tight enough around the barrel, and I felt like it wouldn't stay stationary. Getting a whole lot closer. So I've got this piece of tubing that I think if I deburr it, might actually slide right over the outside of it. Ooh. But I do think we could work with that. It's pretty close. Cut it in half and make our clamps that way to hold it on. That'll work. That's what we're gonna do instead of what we were doing. So that was a lot of effort. So I'm gonna square this up a little bit and figure out how long a piece we want. Actually, we could do that right now. I would say an inch max. Let's cut that square and then measure an inch. Still pretty. I'm really digging having that. Chop saw would have been easier though. Yeah, hot. Yep. Now we just need to grind out those little bumps. I'm going to go right down that line that's just naturally there. And now we can make a clamp. So this guy will weld out here, and then this piece will slide on like this. And so you end up with that gap out here. We'll put a tab and a tab, and then we can bolt it. It all ends up sitting in the end like that. I'll probably have it up above just a little. So now I need a good way to attach it to this. Just so you can see this, I'm gonna round out the edges before we attach that. Now that I think about it, I probably want that on the side so it's up, or at least out of the way. We'll go with that right there. Brilliant! Now I think, but I'm gonna cut it off and make 2 tabs, and we'll use like a little 1/4-inch bolt, tighten it up, and we got a clamp. That worked out way better than the other idea. Keep you safe, pretty. My precious! So I'm gonna try and match the same foot I made on that one. So I'm just gonna stick this in to the same depth and then clamp it. Seems like a plan, doesn't it? Less of a plan. I'm gonna actually tack weld these together and then drill them. Now they won't move, and we can drill them and shape them and do all that. So much for my tacks. Man, at least I know the holes match. I was worried that those tacks might be hard to get apart. I'd say I planned it, but You've seen the show. The hole I drilled it out to wasn't quite big enough for the 1/4-inch bolt I want to run. I feel like a step bit gets you a more perfect round hole than some of the other bits. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy, but it just always seems to be a nicer hole. So I drill close a lot and then finish it with the step. I suppose I could probably start it with the step, but why do everything once when you can do it twice? Plus, they give you a really nice finish on your hole. I like a well-finished hole. Now that that's drilled, I'm going to bolt them back together. I'm going to do the through bolt from here and then the nut on this side, and then I'm going to weld the nut on the back and make it a captive nut. We'll weld a little better this time. There we go. Let's go weld that captive nut on. We'll weld a little better this time.
We'll weld a little better this time.
I think we'll let that cool. Hey-ya! I think it's time for that to go. So we'll put a brand new one on for this next part. Check out UpwardPenny's face shields. Guaranteed to keep you halfway as good looking as you think you were, but not near as good looking as you used to were. Oh yeah. How's that go? I have the power! Just trying to round it off a little, make it look somewhat nicer. I'm going to trim this one to be about the same length, and then it'll be ready for installation. So I've got this very lightly clamped. I put a longer bolt in just to be able to kind of eyeball where I wanted things. I'm trying to make the face even on the front. And I'm going to put a real light tack and then be able to tip it just a little. Now we're going to trim a lot of this back off, but in theory now, make sure it works before we get too crazy. Slightly warm, slightly warm. Ouch. More than slightly warm. Ow.
Is because you're a dumbass.
Here's a shorter one. Perfect. Okay, I've got it welded up and cleaned up with the grinder. Now we can put that in like that. Take our bolt, run that baby in. And I'm doing this now because I want to make sure when I place my pivot point and how everything's going to work together, I know my distances. And without this in place, it's very hard to know exactly where things are. Hopefully this is starting to make sense, what I'm trying to do here. That feels like I might be able to control it. I think 20 might be my magic number here on the inside. Go to 20. A little out of square, but for roughing it in here. Now, what that means is I need that much. These are the overlap spots that I can make a hinge with. Yay! This also gets this plenty long to make that hit nice and square there to there, so that could work. Oh, let's do it this way. Guess who's coming back up? This is what we're trying to make. That's laid out, that's square, that's everything. We just gotta make our hinges here, attach our brace there, and attach that there. We've already got the hammer where we're going, but that's gonna be our end result right there. For the next part where I'm building the mechanism that'll shrink it and pull it together and separate it, I think I'm just gonna do it and then explain it once it's on here, rather than try and explain it now. Okay, hopefully this will make sense. It's not fully welded and there's a lot, but it's put together enough you can see what's going on. So basically, I made 2 tabs here with a rod that goes through a tube. It's just a piece of tube, and it sits in here like this, and that allows it to pivot. As you tighten it, once this hinge is put in place here, as you tighten this, it will pull them apart, and then it will put them back together. Now, I set it up to where basically all the way at the end is done, but I just use all thread, 2 pieces of pipe, a bolt, and some tabs. And that's all it's going to be to make it go up and down and tighten. It'll take a wrench up there, but that's how it works. Now, we got to do these guys. This is going to be a tab over to here, or vice versa. It probably makes the most sense to have it hinge here, since this is the pull point. You'll have your arm, and then we'll drop a pin through it, and that becomes our hinge. And as you pull this tighter, this will rotate out. So a friend of mine has a CNC machine, a plasma table, and we're going to use this to make our tabs. This is just some throwaway. He cut a big giant W out, it looks like. I'll go and buy his letter from him in bulk. He just sells it to me for weight. And I use the letters for some stuff, but I also get some pretty decent metal that can be used for all kinds of stuff. And I buy like these kind of things. I got bigger ones, smaller ones, and they come in super handy for projects that I do, because that's such a pretty nice thing, and it's perfect for what I need right now. I mean, I couldn't have drawn that up better, and it's just a random W right there. Not today, Red. Not today. That oughta keep it in spot. I gotta let it cool. We can put the other one on. And I think what we might do is drill our hole. That's an upgrade I think about all the time. It's getting a decent set of drill bits instead of using cheap ones. Yay for holes. Let's try and weld her up. Nah. All right, I think we're cool enough we can finish drilling. And break our bit. Yay! I hit wood! I've got wood! I've got wood! Okay, now, to make it bigger. Now, where'd it go? There you are. Still hot. Still too hot. Now, to get this all assembled. Oh, I know you fit. Ouch. There you go. Come on. Oh, are you serious? Okay. I'm gonna have to sand the edge. I'll be right back. Okay, taking a smidge off. Oh, it was enough. Hell yeah. All right. Line you up, line you up. Come on. Pretend like you like me. Oh, it's all the way through, but this bolt is just a smidge too short. However, we can prove our concept now. I am dumb excited about this next 5 minutes. Oh my gosh. Look at that. I guess technically it'd be like this. And now we tighten this where I lift. That opens as wide as you want. Look at that. And then when we want to come back together, hell yeah! Are you freaking kidding me? That works. That is phenomenally awesome. I am so pumped that that finally works. That works awesome. We've got this here. We can drop our hammer in. Hell yes. I can open it. You can see how far I can open it. I built it specifically to the shortest one, and so now all we have to do is square that bottom one up and make it done. And we are, oh man, that's awesome. I am so freaking pumped about that. Woo! Hell yeah! Yes! I'm gonna go ahead and weld all this up. That thing works. Oh, hell yeah. I'm gonna weld everything and then I'll be back. Count your blessings. Yeah! I've officially got all this stuff cleaned up. I wasn't trying for perfect, but I want it to be nice and smooth and look like it's been made well. So I'm gonna have a double nut, and one will be below and one will be above, and then you can really sink it down. What I was saying is I've put another nut under here, so now these two can lock in the top. I went ahead and threw the hammer in and mocked this up so we can figure out where I need this die. I don't know if there's a male or a female, but I need the top and the bottom. I need it to be in the same plane as this. So what I want to try and set up, I think, is where this works the best, which sort of looks like that. Okay, I make a couple of marks here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this end to where, because that's basically the length we need. And then I'm going to tack it lightly, and I'm going to set it up in the vise and finish mocking all of this up. Now, clamps. We need clamps.
Maybe you should give him the clamps, Clamps.
Gee, you think?
Clampy, clamp, 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 clamp. We're very good this way, but this is slightly longer than that is, which is why when I was marking this, I had these 3 marks. So now we're centered and centered. That's where it needs to go. So I'm going to clean the rust off a little bit and tack it all in place. Shiny! 'Cause I'm shiny! I'm going to weld this after I take my dies out and move my hammer. And now to let it cool. I'm gonna let that cool, and then we're gonna put it in the paint booth. Gonna do a little paint prep. Because who knows what's all on these. Woo!
Is because you're a dumbass.
Let that dry. Then I've got some black semi-gloss. I don't know if this one will spray anymore or not, but give it a shot. And then we can put it together. And this is really just to protect it more than make it look pretty. I want it to last. Put a lot of effort into it, to be honest with you. I also sprayed a little on this to get it all halfway pretty. All right, we're gonna let that dry. Put her back together. I'm gonna get started plumbing some of these things. It's just standard air fittings. This has got a 3/8 and I'm going to a 1/4 because that's what my hose is. I already put the adapter in. It's just, you can buy them basically anywhere you can buy air tools or stuff. They have fittings. I got mine at the hardware store. Now on our pedal, it's got an in and 2 out. I'll plumb the end in like this because it'll give our air supply to us, and then the out, I'm gonna have the female side of that, and then we'll plug in the middle. But that's how it'll work, you know. This moves the valve, that's all it does. That's essentially how we're gonna plumb it. Plug from our air compressor here in, and then go out to the hose that I've got to connect. I got a 6-foot hose that'll connect right to it. And turn it on that way. Yay! They're not 100% dry, but I'm tired of waiting. So that's where we're at. Slide. I got all the parts around that I needed to put it all back together. Oh, that is so tacky. Fingerprints be damned. I don't know why. I've been waiting for 2 hours for spray paint. You'd think it'd be dry by then. It's pretty humid though. Okay, let's start assembling. Get my first washer. Get my bolt with a nut. A washer, not a nut. There you go. Now, second washer. Come on, just slide where you go. That'll hold it for now. And grab a screwdriver. A screwdriver? There. Now, put that on top. First one's done. I flipped it over and stood it up after I put that center bolt in, just to make my life a little bit easier. Let's put our hammer in. Push it down far enough that the trigger's pulled. Now that's up and out of the way. I can be a little more brutish with it. There we go. Now I need this wrench to tighten it. Got that. Need to tighten that guy. Make it a lot more stable. Excuse me. Yeah, way better. All right, now we just gotta run our hose down the side right there. Let me show you that. So I'm just gonna run it right down this side. I need to give some wiggle room to let it open and close. Now we're ready to try it out. You've probably seen me use this table to weld on. I just screwed a vise down to it real quick so we could hold it and I could get it out where we could see it better. I put a 6-foot hose on it. I may go to a little bit longer one because on this it doesn't quite reach, which that wouldn't be a bad working height. So maybe I want to go to like 8 or 10, but for now we're gonna plug our air in and find out if it works. Oh. Never tried this hammer, so I probably should have done that first. I am getting air up here. I took this apart. All I did was take the valve off. I pulled the plunger out, put it back in, and now it's working. So, for all the fun marbles, now all I have to do to raise it or close it is unscrew that. And I can open it as far as I need to get some metal in there. Let me get something to work. Now, for some dents. Hammer marks, I should say. There. That ought to see it from the top, maybe. That. Let's go see what we can do to it. Took them right out. Look at that. How awesome is that? All of them are gone. Let me put a few more in here. There you go. You can really see that one. And just like that, all that's gone. And that's just me screwing. Oh, I see why it's fighting me. I didn't have it tight. That makes sense. Much better. Ah! It does still need a little fine tuning, but I am super excited with how well that turned out, considering I'd have very little money into it. Just Amazon hose, Amazon pedal, and Amazon air hammer. That's all I've spent on this. And they were all cheap. Like, I think the air hammer was like 40 bucks. The hose was probably 20, and I bet another 20. So I got less than $100. I guess the dies did cost. So let's say $100, $120 is what I have in this. And it's going to do everything I need it to do. I'm excited that I tried to build it, that it worked out, and I went out and just took a chance. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you would, please hit the like and the subscribe buttons. That helps me a lot. I'm trying to grow. I do post over there on Instagram under UpwardPenny. Here's the banner right down here. And just remember, the only time you can't do something is when you won't do something. See you next time.